31st, 2016 order. Please stay silent and seated while custodial activities roll call.
Jose Rosario.
Here.
Maria Zakosnik. Here. Lori Cepeda. Here. Thomas Lima.
Here.
Patrick Hurd.
Here.
Catherine Almeida. Here. Leandro Alvarez.
Here.
Shane Carlin.
Here.
Luisa DeVidio. Here. Emma Holman. Daniel Seavey.
Here.
Scott Kane.
Here.
Michelle Brophy-Behrman.
Here.
Mark Paolucci.
Here.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm seeking a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by President Rosario, second by Vice President Zapata. Any discussion? We'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? The agenda is approved. I'm seeking a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting April 27th. Was the election of officers meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Secretary Cepeda,
Second.
second by President Rosario. Any discussion? Dr. Rosenberg.
I'm listed as being absent without leave, and I was just hoping that that could be changed to reflect the fact that I was told the meeting would be earlier, and so I showed up when I thought the meeting was going to start.
So you'd like to make a motion to?
Yes, to amend the minutes so that it doesn't show me as absent, but absent with leave or something.
All right, there's a motion to add Dr. Brophy-Behrman to the voting members present. Second by Representative, Treasurer Lima. Any discussion? All those in favor of adding Dr. Brophy-Behrman to the voting members present list, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? Dr. Brophy-Behrman abstains, and the motion passes. So, any discussion further on the minutes as amended? Hearing no discussion, we move to the vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And minutes of April 27, 2016 pass. Move on to open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there anyone here for open forum? There's no one here for open forum. I consider the period closed. We move on to item 5, officers' announcements. Item A, President Rosario.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 16-17 academic year of City Community Government Student Government. I'm very excited to work with all of you. Just very quickly, some goals that I have for us that I want you guys to start considering as we move forward in this meeting. One big thing is I'd like to see this room a lot more full than it is now. A big point of kind of where I'm heading in the future would be to increase parliament members, but also increase committee members. So I'd like to see people from different areas of the campus really get engaged and involved, and hopefully work to really promote student involvement. And for my announcements, we're also working on homecoming. So the Thursday of homecoming, August 29th, from 4 to 7 p.m. Thank you, September 29th, we will have a student organizations carnival. If you're part of an organization and you have not asked to have a table, please reach out to Vice President Zapata or Secretary Cepeda within the near future so we can make sure that you have a space. And that concludes my announcement.
Next is B, Vice President Zapata.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Okay, so several things. This summer we finally after like a year and a half worth of work, the new Student Community Government website. So I encourage you to go take a look at it. It's ricscg.org. We'll have all updated info as we go on for the new year. To those of you who might have seen the pile of blue shirts by the door last spring semester, I had made student community government t-shirts for everyone to be able to wear. So every member of Parliament will be able to have their own t-shirt. I ordered only a certain amount of sizes for each size, so take what is there that's available. I highly highly encourage you. This is what they look like in the front, and this is what they look like in the back. They have a nice logo in the back. So I encourage you to wear this around campus, especially during student activities day next week. If you're able to, I know some of you have your own clubs that you're involved in as well. But I think it'd be a great way to promote student community government and Parliament as a whole, because I feel if you go up and talk to somebody, they might look at you strangely and give you dagger eyes, but if you have the shirt on, they might see it and read it and go, I wonder what that is, and they actually go up to you and ask you themselves. And then September 28th, which is the day right before homecoming, believe it or not, is the elections. So we have the freshman class elections. All those positions are open, and then we also have the senior class election as well. They are still in need of a treasurer and as well as a senior representative here on Parliament. So if you know any freshmen, any seniors who might be interested in joining these committees, these councils, please let them know. Declaration period is open September 13th and closes September 20th. They just need to come into our office anytime during open office hours and just sign up, and it's like any other election here. We've had a great number of freshmen recently show interest in not only student class council but also Parliament. We have around 8 petitions taken out within the first 3 days of school for Parliament, which I think is a pretty good number considering. And we obviously hope to increase those numbers as this semester goes on. Also, this extends to you if you have any friends that you think might be really good fit for Parliament. Petitions are open for them to come in and take out, again, during any open hours for SCG. I think that's about it for now. Oh, and if you are able to fit into your schedule, I know everyone's busy, any of the elections committee or the public relations committee, I am more than happy to have more help. That can be for Parliament and non-Parliament students. So just keep that thought in your head, or introduce your friends to it. I think they may be a good fit. That's about it for me. I know there's a lot, so.
That conclude your announcement?
Yes, that's sorry.
C, Secretary Smith.
Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome everyone back. I hope your first few days of classes have been fabulous and all your professors are great and you're staying awake through your 8 a.m.s. I also want to tell you that if you want to join the Student Organizations Committee, please add that in on your committee sheet in your orientation folders. We already have some constitutions to look at and I'd love to get that meeting going so folks can get started. If you have any questions about that, come see me after the meeting, and I hope you have a great first week of classes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
D, Treasurer Lima.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, first off, the big, as we call it, the President Treasurer's meeting is on September 21st at 12:30. So if you know any President Treasurers, so basically what that meeting is all the President and Treasurers of funded clubs attend a big meeting, and I go over the funding policies at that meeting in a large group setting. Aside from that, if a president or treasurer of a funded club can't make that meeting, they can arrange to meet with me separately. They have to meet with me before September 22nd, otherwise their funds will be frozen. And to the sea, several clubs have actually already met with me for a president and treasurer's meeting. Aside from that, I'm still looking for, we have a few non-parliament seats already filled up. I don't think there's many left, 1 or 2. But we have a lot of parliament seats open on the Finance Commission now. It's very active, one of the most active commissions, and it has 10 seats for student representation because of its importance. So if you're currently serving on Parliament, you don't have a committee or commission, consider joining Finance, and hopefully we can get some more bodies in Parliament as soon as possible, so we can have a full Finance Commission. And aside from that, I'm looking forward to this year. I'll be presenting monthly budget reports for all the clubs, as well as a finance allocation report to Parliament on the status of the general fund. And thank you, Mr. Speaker. That concludes my announcements.
Okay, E, Speaker heard this meeting. I do not have much for announcements. I am seeking people for my committee, the Bylaws and Education Commission. So if you'd like to join that committee, please talk to me. You can fill it out on your committee appointment sheet. Remember that you need to be part of one college committee. SCG committee. So, please join mine until it's full. That's it for my announcements. F, Deputy Speaker, Almeida.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to work with all you as I am here in Parliament this year. Quick announcements that I currently have no more seats left on non-Parliament members for my committee for contingencies and services. I do, however, have about 6 Parliament seats, if anyone would like to fill that. We have some very hefty goals for bettering the community and trying to bring students back home instead of making them leave to go back home. Other than that, I will be working with Vice President Pasnick on Student Activities Day, and we look forward to seeing you all there. And that concludes my
Okay. That concludes the officer's announcements. We move on to item 6, Constitutions and Organization Conference Reports. A, Advocacy and Beyond Club Conference Report. Secretary Spita.
Alright, so we have, actually President Jose Rosario is going to be speaking on behalf of the ABC Club. So I don't think we'll look forward to him.
Advocacy and Beyond has attended the Pacific Rim International Conference on Disability and Diversity for 3 years now. The first year we did not present, and for the last 2 years we have presented. Our presentation has yielded a lot of positive results. We've had people from California, from different countries reach out to us and talk about what we're doing. People trying to implement things that we had started here at Rhode Island College, and we've been called trailblazers in the field of disability. We hope that we will continue to go and continue to share what Rhode Island College is doing, because we really are on the forefront of making higher education accessible to all students. Thank you.
Are there any questions for President Rosario about the conference?
I would like a motion to approve the conference.
Okay, motion from Treasurer Lima.
Second.
Second from Representative Crellin. Any discussion? No discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the Advocacy and Beyond Club Conference Report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? President Rosario abstains. And the conference report is accepted. B, Biology Club Conference Report. Secretary Spita.
We have, Philip, not Philip, Philip, it is Philip? Okay, it's Philip, actually, I just call him Phil. Are you still president of the Bio
Yes,
Club?
I am.
And he's here to talk about the conference.
Should I sit down somewhere?
You can stand if you want.
Alright, cool. I'm Philip Ashcroft, like you said, president of Biology Club. I'm here to say thank you for allowing us to go to San Diego and present our research that we do at Fullerton Life Science at the West Coast Undergraduate Biological Research Sciences. It was a really rewarding trip. We had a blast. We were in seminars pretty much the whole day. We got to network with students from like schools like Nebraska, USC. Let's see what else. The whole trip was just amazing. It was really just an incredible learning experience. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want me to add or ask questions or something.
Is there any questions or discussion? Okay, so I'm seeking a motion to approve the Biology Club Conference Report. Motion by Representative Crellin, second by Vice President Spasnik. Any discussion? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the Biology Club Conference Report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? And with that, the conference report passes.
Thank you.
We move on to item 7, reports. A, Presidential SAR Report. President Rosario.
I'll apologize in advance because you're going to be hearing me speak quite a lot today. So I would like to fill you guys in on what we've been working on this summer. A lot of us have been here all summer really putting in the hours and running the candlestick, as they say. So some of the things that we have done, we became consistent parts of the freshman orientation cycles. We partnered with student activities in the How to Get Involved workshop, where we had students kind of fill out what clubs they would fit into and what clubs they were interested in, and also share what we do as an organization. We attended all the cycles, and we had more than one representative at each cycle. We've also drafted an agreement with the library solidifying the role that we play in the extended study hours. From now on, we will not be funding unless we deem that it is necessary. Otherwise, we will ask the college to fund those hours. We've also like I said before, with the Homecoming Carnival, we've developed a way for students to get involved, because this year we noticed that there weren't any kind of activities for students, and we wanted to change that. So we've been working very hard to make that appealing to the student body. We drafted a new induction ceremony to usher in the new officers that we hope will continue on for years to come. And we've also worked very closely with President Sanchez to encourage student representation, both on this body and on different committees across the campus. And throughout any decisions that are being made, we believe that transparency is going to be very important. And I'm very happy to say that the college administration and our executive council align, and we all agree that this will be a successful year. So with that, like I said before, we're really looking for more student representation. We're looking for you to voice your opinions. This body is here to advocate for students, and we hope that this year will allow for discussion and debate so that we can really make some change. Thank you.
All right, so I'm seeking a motion to accept the presidential summer report.
So moved. Yes.
Motion from Treasurer Lima. Second from Representative Seeley. Any discussion? No discussion, move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And the report passes. Move on to item 8, new business. Retention of a lawyer. President Rosario.
Yes. So this year, we would like to retain the lawyer that we've had working for student community government for many years. We have looked at the feedback that we were given by students, and every student seemed to be very pleased with services and confidentiality. Every student felt they were comfortable, and that's something that we really value in our office, and we'd like to continue working with people that we've developed a relationship with, rather than kind of reinvent the wheel.
We'll open it for discussion. Is there any discussion? Representative Crowley.
Do we have any number on how many students utilize it? Just curious. Do we know?
So I believe I answered that question. We do not. I can give that information if you would like it. I don't have that.
Yield the floor, Mary.
Students have the option to call ahead and make appointments, but there's also any time that during free period, if he doesn't have an appointment, for instance, he needs to walk in and talk to him, so there's really no way.
Gotcha, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not like by appointment, so we can't really accurately say for sure.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'm seeking a motion to approve retention of the lawyer.
Motion.
Motion by Secretary Cepeda.
Second.
Second by Treasurer Lima. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? With that, the motion passes. D, Ruth Boston, Vice President Capacity.
Okay, so, Brew Boston is, to those of you who don't know, is kind of like a giant dance party. We've had them on campus before, at least twice as of, I know of, possibly more. We will be putting into the finance committee next week for the very first finance meeting to get the funds approved for that event. And we hope that if the money does get approved, that we will have the event next spring semester. So once we know for sure that it is actually happening, we will hopefully be able to reach out to other boards on campus, see what co-sponsoring. So if you're part of an organization and you think you might get on board with doing that, then please keep your eye out for any notifications from either President Rosario or myself or anyone from student government in general in regards to co-sponsorship. And that's about it for me. Thank you.
Okay, I'm seeking a motion.
Motion.
Motion by President Rosario, second by, Deputy Speaker Helmy. Any discussion? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of Ruth Boston, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Treasurer Lima abstains. And with that, the motion passes. We move on to item 9, updates and remarks. Administrative update, Dr. Scott Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A couple of quick updates about some things that have been happening over the summer and that are upcoming. By now, everybody knows, of course, that the college finalized the process of working with Barnes & Noble, partnering with Barnes & Noble to run the college's bookstore. So, you know, they're running it now. They've run it for the fall semester, and hopefully people are having a positive experience with them. I'd be interested in any comments people might have about their experience or, you know, concerns they might have. Anything? Yes?
It's nice that we don't have to put our book bags down by the entrance. Because we're not gonna hide that all the
Well, from personal experience, from what I've heard from students, people seem to be very pleased with prices and just the overall kind of setting up of the store. Everyone seems to be very excited.
Great. So a couple things related to that. One is for the selection process, I had invited President Rosario to be part of the committee to review the proposals that we had received. And Secretary Cepeda was very involved in that. She did, in my opinion, she did the best job of actually reading the proposals that were submitted, considering we had faculty and staff on the committee and really, you know, kind of knew what she was looking for and what kind of things stuck out. And I think it was a good representation of the students, so, and really helping us figure out what students would be pleased with. So we appreciate that. Going forward, President Rosario and I had this conversation earlier that there is a Rhode Island College Council Committee on the campus store, probably should be named the bookstore. And his question was, what's the future of that committee given this this new partnership that we have with Barnes & Noble? And my answer is that I expect that committee will continue. We might change the name to the Bookstore Advisory Committee. But in fact, when we solicited proposals from outside companies to partner and run the bookstore, one of the requirements was that they would meet regularly with some type of advisory board on our campus, the Bookstore Advisory Committee, and take feedback from them and try to improve their operations accordingly. So that's actually, and they're gonna have a stake in this. I suspect that the bookstore manager will be, you know, attending those committee meetings, and I think the committee can really sort of influence the future of what Barnes & Noble has to offer us. The last thing I'll say with respect to that is sort of we're not quite done with everything that Barnes & Noble wants to do with the bookstore. They have some money available for a couple things. One is some textbook scholarships. That was part of their proposal. They would offer scholarships for students to be able to, you know, get free textbooks in the bookstore. Given sort of the timing of when they got to campus and when that agreement was finalized, we haven't quite worked out the details of how we're going to distribute those scholarships, but you could see some more information about that in the actual rollout of the textbook scholarship program as early as this semester. Certainly for the spring semester, they'll offer that every year. And then the other thing is that Barnes & Noble has set aside some money to do some renovations to the bookstore. Now, they've spent some of that money already with some of the things that they have done, but one of the questions that we're raising with them is what's the best location, and they're raising with us, quite frankly, what's the best location of the bookstore, the future bookstore of Rhode Island? Where should it be? Is its current location, does that make sense? Or are there better locations for them that gives them more of a storefront feel and more exposure? I can't tell you, this past weekend, I think probably 3 times, I was standing right in front of the student union, and students or parents came up to me and said, "Do you know where the bookstore is?" It's right in that door. But they just, you know, there's no signage out there, right? They don't know. So maybe some window exposure might help them if they were able to find a better location. And it might be in our best interest to move them too. That's something that we need to evaluate, whether we could better use the current bookstore space for other types of services or purposes that would maybe help build community among students or create more engagement. So more to come on that, and as that unfolds, I'll continue to update this body on that progress. Another thing I want to talk about is just sort of opening, right? We started this past weekend. Move-in for first-year students was Saturday. We did a community dinner with first-year students in the dining hall. President Rosario was there to give some remarks. We had a decent turnout, probably 450 people, 400 people, I would say, and some faculty and staff, so that was great. And we've been doing a number of activities since then, partly with your help, right? With XIN running the barbecue over at the residence halls on Saturday, with the convocation today out on the quad for first-year students, and all the other welcome depots that some of you have participated in, and other Welcome Week activities. It's a very exciting and festive time, and I don't know, as I walk around, I sort of feel like there's this, I don't know, my gut reaction is that there's more engagement by students so far, more of a sense of college life, student life so far this year than I can remember in the past. And I hope we're able to build on that, that opportunity and connect people with, with everything that's going on, not just inside the classroom, but what's happening outside the classroom here at the college. I think you guys can help with that too. You have a lot of money, and with a lot of money you can do a lot of things. And the reality is that the money you take in this year should be spent on the students who gave the money this year. The idea that we have this fund balance that's building up in student government over time is probably, as the steward of students' money, I mean, you probably really should be using it. It's not probably really appropriate. You're not a business, it's not like you're trying to always operate for a profit. And so I would encourage you to think about ways that you might be able to, increase engagement and effectively help students and contribute to their education and use the funds that are available to you. I think that's a really, would be a really worthwhile endeavor to really step out of the box there. And related to that is I really want to talk more with you throughout this year, and in particular I want to start with the executive board of student government about just our current operations, how we do things, and are there different ways to do things or better ways to do things where we might facilitate more student involvement. From time to time, this group has talked about things like online voting, and we've tried to implement some things, and that's kind of gone away. We sort of determined that it's maybe too hard to do. But then we get, I don't know, maybe 70 people to vote in an election. My guess is that if people could do that from their computer, your engagement in voting would go up, into the thousands very quickly. And it may be hard work. There may be some barriers to that, but can we push that a little bit more? Can we explore that a little bit more? How do we? I think sort of the synergy that we can create. I think from getting student government and student activities to work even more closely together. You want to start a club, you got to go to student activities and fill out some forms, and you got to go to student government and fill out some forms, and then you got to come. Then you got to come to this body, and it just seems like it's a lot of I don't know, bureaucracy. It seems like a lot of bureaucracy that I think can have an impact on student engagement. People just sort of not wanting to follow through on the processes. And so I'm going to want to explore that a little bit more with you guys this year. Are there things that we can do to make that experience better just for students, to make that easier, to really encourage students to get involved and participate in activities? I don't know, maybe signing petitions to be a member of this body, to, I don't know, even how we orient our Parliament members or our presidents and treasurers, and just all of those kinds of things that I think can really help students grow and learn and contribute to their education and their success and involvement on campus. I think, now is the time with the new president who has lots of ideas. I think now is the time to think about doing things differently. And so I'm going to ask all of you to think about that. I'm going to make some suggestions. I don't have all the answers. I'm going to look to my staff to provide some guidance on some of those things. But I'm going to ask that you guys start by being open-minded and beginning to sort of walk down that road with me just to see what are the possibilities. What do other schools do? Might we be able to steal some ideas from them? You know that my partner here, Mr. Paolucci, will probably give his annual speech about setting your goals for this year because the school year goes by quickly. So I'm going to leave that to him. But the last thing I want to talk about before he gets into that is student success and academics. And while you're all student leaders and this is a great experience, I think, to be involved in student government. I was the vice president of the student body when I was an undergraduate experience. It was transformative for me. I'm sure it'll be your positions will be transformative for many of you. Academics is critical to that, right? And not only getting good grades, but having high completion rates of credit hours that you register for and earning credit hours to move yourself closer to graduation. It is not going to do anybody, the college, from a reputation perspective, or you individually, any good if you accumulate a bunch of credit hours and you don't graduate, or you don't graduate sort of in a timely fashion. And by not graduating in a timely fashion, you're accumulating more and more debt over time because you have to take more classes that you're not able to complete, and then you come back the next semester and retake them and that sort of thing. So I'm going to ask you to commit to your education as much as you're going to commit to this body as well. And then think about that from a leadership perspective and what you communicate and what maybe you should be doing as leaders for the rest of the student body. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, discussion, Secretary Speaker.
Oh, well, the Barnes & Noble bookstore. Beautiful location would be where the cafe is, maybe, because people want to see a Starbucks on campus.
Where they have what?
Where the cafe is.
Oh,
That'd be super cool, because then you could just put in a Starbucks that everybody wants to see, or a Dunkin' Donuts. That'd be really cool too. And you could take out all the mailboxes and put in a bunch of textbooks. Thank you.
Representative Rosari, President Rosari.
In regards to the bookstore, in the more immediate future, one thing that I would really like to see, and I've heard from some students, is some signage, not only on the outside of Student Union advertising that we have a Barnes & Noble, but also on top of the actual bookstore. Because right now all it says is bookstore, and no one knows that it's affiliated with Barnes & Noble. So I think that will help.
Is there any further discussion? Move on to faculty update. Dr. Michelle Brooke-McNerney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm super excited to be back, just generally here and at the college and back to the beginning of classes. I volunteered a couple days at the Welcome Depot, and I thought it was a great experience, and it was fantastic, and I can't tell you how many students stop by and ask questions about, how do I get here, how do I get there, and I wish you could have coffee out here every day. And then someone's at least during finals. So that was really good. I hope we continue to do that. I think I'm speaking for myself, but a lot of faculty that I've talked to who I think are super excited about our new president. I feel the morale is up, and that's fantastic. And beyond that, I'm going to be reporting to the Council of Rhode Island College next Friday, along with I believe at least one member of my committee that worked on a report on advising. And so this has been a while in the making. So once I make that report, I would like to come back and talk about it with everybody next time we meet. Some different things that we're thinking about doing. Finally, last year I don't think our parliament representative on the Committee on Academic Advising was ever able to make it, and I hope I can get a member quickly and that they can come to meetings, because we really need student voice on academic advising committee. So those are my remarks. Good luck with everything.
Discussion. Staff update, Mark Bailey.
Thank you. Welcome back. I'll do my spiel, as Dr. Kane said. I think you do need to set some goals. As you know, the executive board will set some goals, but I think as a student government, there needs to be that goal setting. And I think how do you get to that point? I think some of it is done with like a training exercise, and I think as student government in the past, you don't get together as a group until like tonight, and all of a sudden we go, okay, let's do business. And organizations usually don't do that. Usually there's some like training, with the exception of tonight's orientation, but you get together as a group and you find out who each of us are. And looking at Shane as an RA, they didn't just open the halls up on Saturday. They did 2 weeks of training. I'm not saying you need to do that. I think you got to start somewhere. Maybe even just a couple of hours of some training and having some fun, learning a little bit about each other and where do we want to go, and where do we want to be in May, and what that leadership might look like next year too. And it's grooming new people. And I'm not saying you need to go out and hire the consultant. The consultant usually is that person that travels more than one state, pay them more than $1,000 a day, and tell you what you already know. That's usually what a consultant is. But I think there's people at the college that can do some of those things. We have people right in this building that can do some of those things. I can do some of those things with you. We had an exercise, a one-day exercise with our student employees, and it's usually different. We throw different spins at it. We've done low ropes courses and going off campus. We've done things just on campus, just here in the ballroom or at a different facility on campus. And it gets you guys engaged and talking about, what you want to get out of this year. And so I throw that out to the executive board, I throw that out to everybody to come up with that. And we could probably do it on a Wednesday night. Our meetings have been quick. We could spend a couple of hours or an hour or so getting into that over the next, month or so. So I throw that out at you, to you. One of the things, especially with the new president on campus, you should invite him to one of your meetings. I've seen him speak, I think now like 5 or 6 times probably. I was at an alumni event, I was at an event in the dining center Saturday. He spoke to our division. Today, I was outside this afternoon. So he's on campus. He, as the late Buddy Cianci always said, I'll show up to the opening of an envelope. And I think that's what this president, he'll kind of show up. And he's got a message, it's great. He's building community. I don't want to dwell on the past and say things were all bad in the past. They weren't. But people did talk about morale as being an issue. And one of the things that the college administration did a couple of weeks ago was they had a barbecue. Free, a couple hours, outside on the quad. Just show up. And it was totally social. And it was the first time I've seen something like that in 10 years. So it was nice to see. And I think when Dr. Kane talks about you guys having money, you have money to do those kind of things, to engage students with each other, with faculty, with staff, and it's a great opportunity right now to do some of those things. And lastly, Mr. President, you talked about recruiting people, and it's difficult, but you got to come up with an action plan to say, how are we going to do this? And it's the students are not just going to show up into 401 and say, I want to take out a petition. Some will, and I think there's like 5 petitions out, Mary, right now, or so. We need 15. And how do we get to that point? And I don't have all the answers. I might have some answers. You guys might have some. Bring a friend. If you don't have a friend, I don't know, make a friend. We'll figure that out. But I think we need to a loud voice of the students. We need a diverse voice of the students, and we're not it right now. We need more than that. And some years we're thin, and some years we don't fit in the room. And we need to get to that. We don't fit into the room. That's all I got, Mr. Speaker, for now.
Discussion. President Rosario.
So I'd like to just make a few comments. We are in agreement with a lot of things, and I want to throw out there that yes, while there are, I believe, 8 positions out at the moment, we are looking to definitely expand. I agree. I think we need a more accurate representation of the college community, and I think that the way to do it is to, again, come up with that action plan. One thing that the executive council has been talking about, and we're not finalized on these things yet, but we really would like to get the body together for social events as well, as you were saying, to kind of build that morale and build that connectedness. That's something that we're looking to do within the academic year, and we'd be open to suggestions. You know, some things have been thrown out like bowling and ice skating, thanks to Secretary Cepeda. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was that there is discussion about bringing President Sanchez to speak in September, and we're hoping to make that happen.
Great.
Any further discussion? Alumni update to be determined. We move on to item 10, appointments, resignations, and vacancies. President Rosario.
Okay. It's going to be a little while, guys, but I'll try to go as quickly as possible. It is with deep regret that I'm going to ask the resignation to be accepted. Jeremy Booten will no longer serve as a representative of Parliament. We have also received a resignation from Representative Holman.
So I'm seeking a motion to accept the resignations of Jeremy Brown and Emma Holman with deep regret. Motion from Representative Video, second from Representative Alvarez. Any discussion? No discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And the resignations are accepted with deep regret.
Okay, now we move on to appointments and vacancies. On the Student Parliament Committee Board of Education representatives, we still have a student seat open. On the Academic Affairs Committee, all 5 student parliament seats and 3 non-parliament seats are open. On the Bylaws and Education Committee, we have 3 parliament seats and 1 non-parliament seat available. And I will be appointing Robbie Rhodes to another non-parliament seat. On the Conditions and Services Committee, we have all 6 student parliament positions available, and all 5 non-student parliament seats have been filled by the following people: Julio Barron Nunez, Megan Ferrata, Slade Sharma, Tatiana Reese, and Ramiro Montero.
Is there any motion to?
There's still more,
Okay.
a lot more. Okay. On the Elections Committee, we have 6 parliament seats available and 2 non-parliament seats available. I will be appointing Representative Daniel Seavey to the Elections Commission, and we will be appointing Slade Sharma to a non-student parliament seat. Okay. On the Finance Commission, we have 3 student parliament seats available and 1 non-student parliament seat available. I will be appointing Representative Davidio to the student parliament seat on the Finance Commission, as well as Taylor Dame and Ismael Santana on the non-student parliament seats, along with Joshua Costa and Andrew Spaziano. On the Personal Evaluations Committee, all seats are open, including chair, the student parliament, 3 student parliament seats, and 3 positions that are assigned by the Dean of Students. On the Public Relations Committee, I will be appointing Luisa Davidio to the student parliament seat. There are still 6 student parliament seats available. I'll be appointing Veronica Brunbaum as PR Director, Jason Windrow on a non-student parliament seat, Ramiro Montero and Tatiana Rice on non-student parliament seats. I would also like to add on the Finance Commission that we are appointing Octavian Gonzalez as the comptroller. Right. On the Student Entertainment Committee, 3 student parliament seats are open. We have the programming seat open, an organization seat open, the commuter seat open, the Dean of Students or designee seat is not open. We have a non-parliament seat, WXIN seat, and a resident seat open. We will be appointing Ramiro Montero and Tatiana Reese to the committee. Excuse me. Okay, on the Student Organizations Committee, or the SOC Committee, we will be appointing Jason Windrow as chair of the SOC Committee, Caitlin McFadden to a non-student parliament seat, and Lisa Dividio to the student parliament seat. We still have 6 student parliament seats available, 2 non-student parliament seats, and a student activities representative seat. Okay, on the Council of Rhode Island College, I will be appointing myself and Thomas Lima to the RIC Council. To the Committee on Academic Advising, both seats are filled by Ramiro Montero and Tatiana Ruiz. The Academic Integrity Board has 1 undergraduate student seat that is not filled. Similarly, so does the Committee on Academic Policies and Procedures. The Academic Standing Committee has 2 vacancies by undergraduate students. The Academic Technology Advisory Committee has, the 1 seat has been appointed to Speaker Hurd. The Calendar Committee has 2 student seats available. The Campus Store Advisory Committee has 1 student seat available. The Committee on College Lectures has 2 student seats available. The Committee on College Missions and Goals has 1 student seat available. Similarly, so does the General Education Committee, the Human Relations Committee, and the Library Advisory Committee. All of those have 1 student seat available. The Performing and Fine Arts Commission, all seats are available. Student Conduct Board has 1 undergraduate seat available. Student Design Course and Concentration Subcommittee, 2 seats available for students. The Committee on Student Life will be appointing Daniel Seavey to the resident seat. Representative Seavey to the resident seat. And we have a grad student and non-resident seat available. Traffic and Parking has 2 student members seats available. The Advisory Committee on Undergraduate Admissions Policy has 1 student seat available. Undergraduate Curriculum Committee has 1 undergraduate seat available, and 1 seat has been appointed to Speaker Hurd. The Vision 2020 Committee has 2 student seats available. And for the Committee on Convocations and the Committee on Honorary Degrees, we will be appointing Senior Class President Jeremy Booten, and that concludes my vacancies and appointments.
Did you announce the cabinet?
Yes, except for June.
Okay. Are you asking that these be accepted with unanimous consent?
Yes, I ask that these appointments and vacancies be accepted with unanimous consent.
Does anyone have any objection to this being accepted with unanimous consent? With that, the appointments are passed. We move on to item 11, issues of Parliament members. Please raise your card if you have an issue. Start with Representative Trump.
So 2 quick things coming off the back of last year. The Murray Center, after the work we put in, has recycling in the lobby, which is fairly important to me, so I'm happy to see that. And then there is a system in place for work orders, where students can see the status of the work orders, and then the RAs go to the rooms to confirm the completion of the work order. We don't just look at the system and say, okay, well, the system says it's done, so it must be done. We confirm it ourselves too. So we wait for both confirmations, and hopefully this is more efficient. So go us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First off, I want to give a thank you to Maker TV and the Anchor for their coverage of what we do here, representing the students. And also want to give a thank you to Physical Plant and Arthur Patry of Donovan. There was an issue for WXIN AC, I think in Mark Billinger as well, and that was fixed this morning. So that's good news for them. And aside from that, again, just welcome everyone to the party, and let's recruit heavily and really push for great things.
President Rosario.
So while I am very winded from reading that appointments and vacancies packet, I would like to just reiterate that it is very important to get students from all walks of life, as Representative Philippi, alluded to, on these committees, and I would very much like to see this list filled in 2 weeks from now when we meet again. So if you have students who you believe would be excellent fits on any of these committees, please feel free to send them to our office to pick up an application. I strongly encourage everyone here to reach out.
Representative Alvarez.
Alright guys, many freshmen have been complaining that they want to see a Starbucks on campus or some sort of restaurant, something aside from it. Also, I would like to see a Barnes & Noble sign outside the student union, just like there's a Citizens Bank sign. Also, I would like to see, like, if it hasn't been done yet, a different type of way to see the progress of our work orders relating to housing issues. Has there one been done yet, or no? Assuming no, but I would like to see like an effective way of seeing our work orders, like have they been received, are they gonna do them? And I just want to see more events on campus for the students living on campus. So that's it.
Secretary Sweet.
I forgot to mention earlier, the first round table is September 14th, so if you're part of a club or organization, please send them to Student Union 422 on September 14th at 1 o'clock. Thanks. And there will be letters in your mailboxes too.
Deputy Speaker,
In regards to Representative Alves, the E-Board has a very good plan for better student life here, and we can address those, I can address those with you another time after we go up together as an E-Board.
any more issues? With that, I'm seeking a motion to adjourn. Motion by Representative Seavey. Second by Representative DeVito. Any discussion? Move to a vote. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? With that, we are adjourned.